is now a real pleasure for me, and with a great deal of pride, that I introduce our president who's going to speak to us. And that, of course, is Grace Wilson.
Thank you, Caroline. It has been really a wonderful day today. And last night, I just so much enjoyed hearing people speak to each other as they renewed acquaintances and were able to actually gather together in person. I want to talk to you about some of the updates or some of the projects that the BCRTA is working on as we continue to strengthen our organization. How many of you would sign up for a trip 2 years in advance? Well, I wouldn't either, except that I didn't know when I agreed to go to Vietnam that the world was heading into a pandemic, and that pandemic would involve a lockdown with travel restrictions. There was a ripple effect throughout the country, and the BCRTA was not exempt. So if you follow our budget, you are aware that a significant amount of our income is derived from our member participation in the different Johnson insurance offerings. These fees fund many of the additional things that members come to expect. With travel restrictions in place, there has been a drop in our travel insurance component of the plan. Because of the restrictions, our income losses in this area were offset by no expenses for members' accommodation and travel. With limited expenses, we managed to mitigate the financial income losses, and we even were able to accrue some funds which are now being prudently used to move us forward towards providing the best experiences for our members, while at the same time supporting our staff. Our insurance income is still not to the pre-pandemic level, but it is increasing because our members are wanting to travel. And just a little plug for Johnson, if you want to travel, they have the best travel insurance. Don't leave home without it. And remember that Johnson offers best friend advice about all their insurance offerings. Besides the travel pandemic restrictions, besides the travel, the pandemic restrictions included gathering. So to meet this challenge, we transitioned to Zoom. Not my favorite thing, but it worked for us. It soon became apparent that we had the ability through technology to bring the good news of what the BCRTA was doing directly to the members. And we did this without the expense of accommodation and travel. Because we are social beings, gathering in person has benefits that simply cannot be replaced by technology. But a combination of the two will be a way forward. In the future, committee and board meetings will be a mix, some in person and some using technology. And this will extend not just to committee and board meetings, but it will also apply to our retirement seminars that we do. We continued to push what was a challenge into organizational opportunities. Our first strategic planning session resulted in a goal of managing our own insurance plans. And we've sat on that one for a while because we had a number of other things that needed to be put in place first. But this past year, we established a small task force to make recommendations regarding the essential requirements necessary and the ability of the board to manage our own health benefits plan. A benefits consultant was hired, and it was determined that we are now in a position to begin moving in that direction. The task force completed its work, and a benefits health committee has been established. We have engaged a lawyer to support the committee and to ensure that all the necessary and legal structures are in place as we move forward with this goal. We are taking a measured and disciplined approach to ensure the success of this opportunity. You are all aware that the BCRTA operates with a minimum of staff. We only have 3 full-time staff, and they assume many different responsibilities to provide us with professional services to which we have gradually become accustomed. We're not looking to build an empire, but as an employer, we have a responsibility to provide a manageable workload for our employees. And so here are 2 things that we're doing to actually support them. Number 1 is we're improving our systems, and number 2, we are providing support to them. Let me just talk about these 2 things a little bit. BCRTA technology over time has been what I would call a cobbling together of the various platforms. With the hiring of an excellent director, the board has been enlightened about the need to ensure that we will get what is needed without all the bells and whistles. We started with our financial systems, and over the past 2 years, there have been major improvements. We've moved into the current century, and financial experiences are in line with what members experience in other professional organizations. This component of our system enhancement is now complete. We are now beginning to move forward with improvements in our systems that will provide positive experience for both long-term and new members. We want professional systems that are, number 1, sustainable, but we also want them to be open to potential opportunities. Second thing that we're doing is we're providing support for our staff. For the past 2 years, there has been a budget line item which would have allowed us to hire some staff. And to date, we have not accessed any of that particular line item. With our offices closed as the pandemic raged, it has not been practical to hire because there wasn't an opportunity to train. And in addition to that, I think that most of you, if you've been into the building, can appreciate that we have limited office space. So that also has to be factored into any decisions in this particular area. So to support our staff and again to provide a positive professional face to members and potential members, we, and I say we, but it is really our executive director, have searched out individuals that could support 2 areas of work for short-term job-specific help. One area has been the postscript, and if any of you attended the writer's workshop that was done, you have met Karen Cooper, who is the person who helps in that particular area. Her help has been invaluable. Our postscript is the face of the BCRTA to us and to other people. And the second area that has been and the second area of support for our staff has been in the area of the website. We've actually been able to bring someone on board who knows how to do website work. They've looked at what we've had and they've really put something together that works for us nicely. So what I would say to you is that if you haven't recently been to the BCRTA website, you need to go. It's more friendly. It provides archival material that you may be interested in finding. And don't go just once, go often, because things keep changing on it. So that has been a big help for us. And finally, I want to update you about the GST issue that was flagged in the auditor's report 3 years ago, and that was about the need for the BCRTA to pay GST on our ASA funds. This didn't make sense to us. And so, because no other organization that had this kind of insurance was paying GST. So what we did was we looked and we said, okay, that's what we got from our auditor, and you have to pay attention when they say something to you. We changed auditors, and we were very transparent about the fact that we had this issue and that we didn't agree, but we wanted them to check it. They came back to us with the same opinion. So I would say I'm one of these people who likes to be on the right side of the fence when it comes to our Canada Revenue Organization, because they can put a lot of clout. But you know, we had, and I will say Jerry Teedy, who was very, very determined on this issue, and he said, we will have members who will stand up at the AGM and ask us if we didn't get a legal opinion on this matter, because it was going to cost us a lot of money to cover this GST. So, with great reluctance, I bought into that, and I am so grateful that I did. We engaged a lawyer, and it went to a lawyer that was very knowledgeable in the area of taxation. And what she said was, well, the auditors were asking a different question. You have to ask the right question. And she provided us a 16-page written position that she was familiar with. And so for that, we are very grateful. It cost us a bit of money, but I will tell you, it did not cost us nearly as much as if we would have had to pay out our GST, because we would have had to pay back years. So thanks, Jerry. I just want to say that as a board, we are always mindful of the budget. We look at what our goals are, and we are always weighing the things that we want and the things that we desire against our ability to pay. And it's not just a matter of our ability to pay now. You must look at the long term. Can you sustain? Because that's sometimes where organizations fail. They say, oh, we're in good times now, we've got the money, we'll move ahead. And then we saw these last 2 years how quickly things can change. And organizations have gone down because they haven't been able to sustain. So I want to assure you that, in fact, we're doing some work here that is going to cost us money. I want to just look back here. The one thing I can't, I'm just going to go with that because, you know, like I want to make sure that you know we've looked at, we're conscious about our budget. We're getting money back. We have our website development that's happening, our postscript that's in place. We're providing support to our staff, and that support actually is in the terms of people, but it's also in terms of upgrading our systems. And that's going to be, when I talk about sustainability, that's an area where there will need to be some sustainability because technology is not cheap. So those are updates about where the organization is and where we've been going. Thank you.